Marvel Comics has announced a new series titled Star Wars Legacy of Vader, set after The Last Jedi. Written by Charles Soule and illustrated by Luke Ross, the comic will follow Kylo Ren as he seeks to fulfill Darth Vader's legacy. The series will begin with Ren in his role as Supreme Leader of the First Order, exploring his dark obsession with the Sith Lord, which means takes place between number 8 and number 9. The first issue, releasing on February 5th, 2025, will take Kylo Ren to Mustafar, the site of Darth Vader's infamous fortress. The storyline teases secrets hidden within the fortress and the reappearance of a mystery figure from Kylo's past to guide him on his quest. The series also promises to revisit Kylo's connection to his family history on Tatooine in future issues. Charles Soule, who previously wrote The Rise of Kylo Ren in 2017 and the Darth Vader run, explained that Kylo is at a deeply unstable point in his life, having recently killed his father, fought his uncle, and nearly killed his mother. It's a rough week. Struggling with anger and confusion, Kylo turns to his grandfather's dark legacy for guidance. Interior art for the series has been shared on StarWars.com, offering fans a first look at Kylo Ren's journey. I want to hear Jim's thoughts before I talk about my thoughts on
you know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, Charles Soule's last Kylo Ren thing. Jim, what are your thoughts on comics and hearing this story?
Well, I'm a little worried from what you just said that I'm walking over on a catwalk over a pit to meet Kylo Ren, and I think it's going to go well. But I will say I love Charles Soule's Vader comics. I've read all of those.
His Vader comics are excellent, yes.
And I personally, so it's combining this idea. I haven't read the first Kylo Ren series, but this idea combines the two things that I love in Star Wars Marvel comics, which is Chuck Soule's Vader, and I like the comic series that fill in between films. I like all of those different attempts. I'm especially eager for more of those in the sequel era, where I just think it's gonna. I like those movies, but you're out on an island sometimes when you like those movies. So I just think it's gonna bolster them more and more and more the more of that stuff that we get. So I'm excited.
That's good. You're absolutely allowed to be. Pete, I'm glad to jump in because I want to give you kind of the final spotlight on this. I am famously not that much of a comic book reader. All, deference to our friend Chris Ryans, who is a huge comics guy. I'm a friend of the show. I've read bits and pieces of the Vader Down comics. I've read, I've seen some of the screens from some of the original Kylo series. It's just not for me. But guess what? Star Wars isn't just for me. So the people that are excited about this, I'm excited for you. I will also say this: Charles Soule's record is unimpeachable. He's a fantastic writer. He tells great stories. He's been on, he was on with us for Podathon a couple years in a row. Like, go for it. That's awesome. I'm so excited. I probably won't read it unless it creates such a buzz that it reaches that tipping point where I have to. And then great, I'll be in for it. But I'm excited for my comic book friends that are going to dig deep into this story.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Nick, in that I don't read a lot of comics. A lot of you know that. However, I did read one comic series, and it was the Kylo Ren series. And I have to say, no offense, and again, all the praise to Charles Soule. I mean, he knocked it out of the park with the first High Republic book, which is the only High Republic book I've read. But and the Vader stuff is excellent. I love the Vader series. But the Kylo Ren comic book is honestly, it has turned me away from comics. And I'm sorry to say that, Charles, but my goodness. And it's just, the writing is so weird to me. It's like, but again, to the point that Nick made, and this is the biggest challenge, I think, being a Star Wars fan today, is like, I don't like something, and I'm spending more time talking about why it's okay that I don't like something versus actually
exactly.
But I really did not. I would have to say the Kylo Ren comic book is, to me, unreadable. Like, that's as far as I would go with that.
I love it.
But I also know, no, but I know other people. There are a lot of people that are like, that's the best comic series I've ever read. So that being said, I'm a little nervous about him continuing the Kylo Ren story, especially if he brings back the Ren and the Knights of Ren based on the way he wrote them in those stories. But you know what? To Nick's point, if it reaches a tipping point and we all get into it, then I'll check it out. I'll definitely read the Wikipedia entries on it for sure.
It may I love that. It may be not to beat a dead horse, but I'd be curious if this is a heavier, harder lift, because the Knights of Ren is a much more largely unwritten bit of lore, which is a word I try to avoid using on Yubna. But so everything he does is a Timothy Zahn level of invention. I feel like, right? So in the Vader comics, it's more like can't really break Darth Vader as long as you stick to a few rules.
Right.
So it's interesting.
Well,
now I got to go read it and come back on.
Yeah, you should definitely read it, because to me, it's not Kylo, it's not Luke, it's Snoke, and it's Ren. So those are the characters that just, I mean, read it and we'll have a conversation, because I would love to have a conversation. In fact, maybe we get Chris Ryan's our comic book expert. We get Jim on, and let's talk about the Rise of Kylo Ren, because it was hard to read.
And let's get Chuck Soule on here and be like, why'd you write such a bad
What is wrong with you?
Yes. Let's see if I am willing to
him as a group. Let's just go at it.
Let me put my shill card on the line and confront Charles Soule and say, hey, why did you write that?
Why are you ruining Star Wars?
You ruined not my Kylo Ren.
Yeah. Hey,
let's do
I
this.
like Kylo Ren and girls. More of that.